Okay, viewers, this is Dr. James Wand, otherwise Dr. James VONDUTCH in full, and it's still Thursday, the 11th of September 2025, or 9/11/25 in the American pronunciation. And I'm in my room, my supported housing room for the homeless. And this is my third video of the day. And I'd like to continue on that theme of my homelessness and explain once again. I was on the Coventry Home Finder system of applications for the homeless people. I've been registered on that for many years, and I was actually allocated Band 2. That's the second highest priority upon being rendered homeless, which lasts for 56 days. And during that 56 days, I didn't actually achieve getting a place, a bed sit even, or a room in a shared house, etc., or even something like this, supported housing. So that's how ridiculously stupendous it was, and horrendous ordeal that I had to endure of sleeping rough in my car, which was obviously the best option for me at the time, and only option for me as my only place of abode to go to and reside. Obviously, I had to rely on public toilets and even motorway service stations for showers, etc. For instance, the Warwick services on the M40, northbound and southbound. I used to regularly use that for my showers and things. Toileting, I used the Pool Meadow bus station, but that obviously wasn't open all the time. That closes from midnight to 2 a.m. for 2 hours before it reopens. So even there could have been problems at night. So that sort of thing I had to endure, obviously, for 13 plus months before I was eventually discovered by the homeless team, the outreach workers, and one of them was a Romanian outreach worker, and some two local women as well, who also photographed me with my permission, that is, and made a video as well of the event when I was actually discovered sleeping rough in my car, and offered then supported housing subsequently. But it's down to the housing officer end of the day and social services to provide me with housing, and that's where the fault lies, and they are to blame as well for slowing that process down and not putting me down as a real priority. They knew I had access to a car, so they ruled me out, and they also put down I made myself intentionally homeless, which is ridiculous. Why would I do that? I'm not that stupid. The rents were building up because they didn't actually put the tenancy agreement into my name, so I would be under obligation to pay the rent on time as well, which I was willing to do. And I did actually even phone up Citizen Housing Group and spoke to Jordan at the repairs, and he was the one who was actually assuring me that he would put me on the tenancy agreement and backdate it as well in my name, and that's what I was waiting for in the post. That never arrived, that tenancy agreement. Unfortunately, all that arrived was eviction orders and possession orders. A notice of quit was served to my mother because she no longer lived there, because she was literally snatched out of the house by social services and NHS staff, and they placed her in hospitals at first, and then transferred her into care homes, and that's where she was kept, and she wasn't returned back, and that's the unfortunate side, which led to consequences or repercussions for me, severe repercussions, such as having to also leave that place, which was my family house. So they literally fiddled the house, snatched a £200,000 house from me as well, which I would have normally or naturally inherited, being next of kin, kind of a successor. And the one who's lived the second most after my mother in that place was me, actually. So they stole off us. They stole that house. They fiddled away. Citizen Housing Group, based in Birmingham, and the neighbourhood safety officer who took the action was Rachel Slater, through actions of Collins solicitors based in Birmingham, and they got their wishes granted through by Coventry County Court, and the judge there, another woman there who was a judge, and she was obviously obviously to blame, or how would I put it, negligent in the duty of in my care of duty by not providing me with a place of abode to go to, and leaving it the onus on me at the late stage to find somewhere when they knew quite clearly I was bidding on the Coventry Home Finder, even with Band 2 priority, the second highest, and I wasn't getting anywhere. And it was down to the social services and the housing officer at the times, who was in the local area, who didn't administer that or authorize that stay for me, and made me suffer for plus 13 months before I eventually did get that stay in the Salvation Armies, followed by the supported housing that I'm in right now, for instance. That could have been much earlier, and it was down to those officials, and not just the fault of Citizen Housing Group and Coventry County Court, but also down to those sort of individuals, the Social Services Department in Coventry, and the housing officers in particular, who have the final say so in prioritising who can get accommodated and whose urgency needs are more urgent or more prioritising, etc. So they are responsible for that role, and they have got powers to get someone in. And of course, like I mentioned, the Home Office obviously they weren't flexible enough to adjust their rules. I mean, somebody there could have easily nudged, the rules there. If they're holding uh, asylum seekers and refugees, and putting them in hotels, why couldn't they do that for me? I was rendered homeless, and that was through their vile acts, not my personal doing. It was their vile acts, and I would have paid the rent on time. The rents built it up because simply the rent tenancy agreement wasn't put on my name. They were still under the main tenant, who's my mother, who was snatched away. So I wasn't liable to pay for that, although I was paying it when she was there. But as soon as they removed her from the house and not sent her back, I was still waiting for the tenancy agreement to switch over to my name. That never happened, and that's also the blame. So whoever was responsible there for not putting the tenancy agreement in my name, it ultimately led to the house being taken off me and seized. So they're to blame as well. That person is the violent person as well, ultimately resulting in the loss of the house. But because they were maybe envious, jealous that I had or would have inherited that house, a three-bedroom house, that they couldn't even tolerate me with a house, yet alone anything else. That's how people are up here in this part of the world. It's not a land of opportunity, believe me. It's the opposite, the land of jealousy and envy. And they couldn't even take me with banger cars, second-hand banger cars, or even with women or in children, even and they took that off me as well. My stats, my kids, and my women, any children I had, and my wife, ex-rector, who's a bad partner, who initiated the removal from me from the family house, and she shouldn't have been allowed to court me. That was wrong of them. That was a vile act as well. But anyway, I've been through all that hellhole, and keeping Rough in my car was a bad deal, but obviously nowhere near as being imprisoned when I went back to see my kids at my ex-partner's house and where they lived. That's the worst, obviously. I ended up in a 3-year hellhole sentence, section 20 GBH. And as soon as I got out, I was told I could live at my mother's place, and that was all agreed via the courts actually. And then this happened, obviously, a few years down the line. So it's ridiculous what they did to me. They tried to evict me from that house, and they succeeded. And they evicted my mother first of all. Obviously, they snatched her out. They stole her house, a family house, and like I said, I would have inherited that. And then I was removed subsequently and forced to sleep rough in my car for, like I said, in 13 plus months. But it wasn't a civilized way of doing things. It wasn't a camper van. It wasn't a caravan or anything like that. And there was no headroom there at all. I had to squeeze into it almost like a coffin box to sleep over during the night. And in the weather conditions during the summer, it was bad, a very extreme hot weather, almost like a sauna inside. And during the winter, it's freezing cold. And I had to go for the SWEP, which is a severe weather enforcement protocol set up by the government. And I used to go to those rooms there during the night when it was freezing cold, and I have attended those SWEP uh, programs where they have rooms for the homeless. So that's how bad it was anyway, and I endured all that as well. And the viewers out there should know who's responsible for all those things. Like I'll mention them in order. Obviously, the first person to blame would be the person who didn't allow my name to be put on a tenancy agreement as successor. That's the first failure on Citizen Housing Group. And the second failure is Citizen Housing Group not offering me an alternative place of abode. And the third failure is obviously Coventry County Court themselves by not insisting on Citizen Housing Group providing me with an alternative place of abode to go to before allowing them to seize my house and just handing it over. Obviously, they were bent on giving the house away and at all cost. That was the Coventry County Court. And queers like that they were obviously, and not in least interested in the safety and well-being of me. And I was a vulnerable adult at the time. Where would I go to, and at such short notice? And why wasn't Community Home Finder helping me? I was on the band 2 priority, and even now I'm bidding for Coventry Home Finder properties, and bungalows as well as flat bed sits, etc. And why haven't they helped me? I'm on band 2 again now. My priority has risen to band 2, not quite band 1. Obviously, you have to be a pregnant woman, a drug addict, severely mentally ill or something, or some sort of other illness or something, or even asylum seeker or refugees to be considered for band 1, which I wouldn't be, obviously. So I'm on the next highest priority, and that's the priority I was allocated when I was rendered homeless for 56 days, and I didn't get anywhere then, and I don't think I'm getting anywhere now either. But obviously, it's not such a urgent need now that I'm in supported housing, but it's still not my own place. That's the important thing to remember. And I don't obviously own the place at all, so my viewers haven't helped me at all in that respect. So that's about it. I'm going to end this video now. I think I've said about everything in this video and who's to blame if there's any finger pointing there. And it was under Rishi Sunak regime or reign at the time, the Conservative leader, elected Conservative leader at the time, the Prime Minister at the time, of course, and were taken over after those other prime ministers had resigned, Boris Johnson resigning, etc. And then following it was Liz Truss, who also resigned, the shortest prime minister in power ever in terms of longevity, followed by Rishi Sunak. And it was during that time these orders were, served on me, and that's about it. I don't really want to go on about that, but do point the finger at the housing officer, social services up here, and also with Citizen Housing Group, their ruthless actions, and of course, don't forget Coventry County Court, their stupidity and their reckless negligence. Dr. James VONDUTCH on 11th of September 2025 in a bedroom for the supported housing for the homeless. A shared house that is with other dwellers who are also homeless in other rooms, of course, of the house.